Have you ever felt like our world is just built on conflict? You know, that for every winner there has to be a loser? Well, an ancient text, one that was literally unearthed from a 2,200-year-old tomb, offers this radical alternative. Think of this as a briefing on Chapter 2 of the Tao Te Ching, a blueprint for understanding not just ancient philosophy, but our incredibly polarized modern world.
Okay, so let's just dive right into the source material. This is a modern translation of the Boshu manuscript, which is one of the oldest versions we have. It starts by setting up these pairs you see here: beauty and ugliness, good and evil. But it's what comes next that contains a philosophical bombshell.
You see, this entire philosophical framework, this whole worldview, actually hinges on a single crucial word. And it's a word that was changed over the centuries, and that one tiny change altered our entire understanding of what opposition even means.
So here it is. The key difference is between these two characters, Ying and Qing. The ancient Boshu manuscript uses Ying, which means to fill or to complete. It suggests that high and low are basically partners, working together to create a whole. But the later, standard version uses Qing, which means to overturn or to collapse. That paints a completely different picture, one of constant zero-sum conflict.
Look, this isn't just some dusty academic debate over translation. This changes everything. It's a fundamental shift in worldview. One word takes us from a universe where opposites are at war to a constitutive one, where opposites are in a creative dance, literally bringing each other into existence.
And once you grasp that, it unlocks the core logic of the entire text, the idea of a world that's built not from isolated things, but from the relationships between them.
The text gives us these 6 pairs. But this isn't just a list, it's a dynamic system. Think about it, you can't have long without the concept of short. Difficult only has any meaning because easy exists. Each one gives life and definition to its counterpart. They co-create each other.
So this principle has a name in philosophy: relational ontology. It's a fancy way of saying that nothing has a fixed identity all on its own. Identity is always a product of a relationship. It's an ancient idea, but it really resonates with modern thinkers like Derrida, who also argue that meaning comes from difference.
So this isn't a simple duality. It's not like two sides of a coin. A better way to picture it is to think of a Mobius strip. You know, that single continuous surface where before flows endlessly into after and high seamlessly becomes low. There's no war, just this eternal generative flow.
Now, this isn't just abstract philosophy. The Tao Te Ching applies this exact same logic directly to power and leadership, and what it comes up with is a totally radical model of what it means to be a ruler.
Okay, let's look at another one of these critical textual differences. The Boshu manuscript says the wise leader, the sage, does not initiate things, fu shi. They don't claim to be the heroic founder, the big creator. The later version, though, says the sage does not refuse what arises. The Boshu version is so much more radical. It suggests that true leadership isn't about imposing your will, but about creating the conditions for things to emerge all on their own. And this presents a powerful critique of the way we usually think about power. I mean, just compare it to the political philosopher Thomas Hobbes and his idea of the Leviathan. Hobbes argued that to prevent chaos, you need a visible, absolute ruler who just ends all debate by force, ruling through fear. Laozi proposes the total opposite, an invisible sovereign who creates stability by stepping back, fostering an atmosphere of relaxation, not fear. One rules by a very loud presence, the other rules by a strategic absence.
What's wild is that this ancient concept of not initiating finds this fascinating echo in the 20th century philosopher Martin Heidegger's idea of Gelassenheit, or letting be. Both are describing this profound act of stepping back, not out of laziness or passivity, but to actively create a space where things can reveal their own nature, totally free from our need to control and define them.
So, why does any of this ancient philosophy matter right now? Because our digital world is a perfect case study in what happens when we completely ignore it. This is an urgent briefing for how to navigate our modern information landscape.
Seriously, ask yourself, why do our online spaces feel like they are designed to create friction and division? Well, the answer lies in a direct violation of the exact principles we've just been talking about.
Social media algorithms thrive on the very thing Laozi warns us about. First, we define our good, our identity, our in-group. Then, the algorithm immediately helps generate the evil, out-group. Then comes the crucial step. We are incentivized to occupy this position, to perform our identity over and over again. And the result? A perpetual conflict that drives engagement, clicks, and of course, revenue. The whole system is built on that overturning model, not the completing one.
So, if occupying a fixed position is the trap, the text offers a really powerful way out. It's a path not just to political stability, but to personal resilience. And this brings us to the profound conclusion of the chapter. Because one does not occupy a position, one cannot be removed from it. It's a complete paradox. The ultimate stability, the ultimate power, comes from refusing to be pinned down, refusing to occupy one fixed, static position.
This wisdom isn't just for politics. It's about our own minds. In a world that is constantly demanding that we pick a team, declare our labels, and build these rigid identities, this ancient text offers a path to real psychological resilience. True stability doesn't come from building a fortress-like identity that can be attacked, but from having a fluid, generative self that is always learning, always growing, always becoming.
And that leaves us with a final question for you. In a culture that rewards rigid certainty and tribal opposition, what new possibilities, what new harmonies, what new worlds could you generate simply by choosing not to occupy a fixed position?